Hello, and welcome to another episode of New World Comics Podcast. I'm Buck Berlin, owner-operator of this fine establishment. Joined with us this week is Eddie Santos.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Woo! We are discussing the most recent run on X-Men, The House of X and Powers of 10.
Yes.
Or as the internet has now called it, Hoxpox, which I hate.
Sounds like you need a shot for that.
Yeah, oh, it's gross.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway.
Can't go to work. I got some hot pox to deal with.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Hoxpox got me down. No. Yeah. So, huge spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about most everything.
Yes.
There's some of the stuff that we'll try not to spoil for you. Just the finer points, that kind of stuff. But we just kind of feel that it needs some
discussion.
Yeah, discussion and decompression.
Yes.
So
it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, let's dive in because man, Krakoa has changed.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, in recent years, Krakoa has been part of the Xavier School grounds.
Yes, best friends with
Cypher
and Quentin Quire.
Yeah,
they were best buds and traveling the world together and speaking perfect English or somewhat perfect English. And now he doesn't.
Yeah. Now he has to, then Cypher had to spend a year on the island learning
the language.
Teaching and learning it language.
So did that lead him to be the way he was when they were hunting for Wolverine? Where he was a little off? Off.
Yeah.
And looked slightly older than what he does now?
Yeah.
A lot older than what he does?
Yeah, I think that they were planning on him going a certain way.
Yeah.
And then with the Hickman stuff, it all kind of got...
He's, coiffed.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. It's really interesting, this series, what it has taken and embraced from the X-Men comics over the years. Like, this is made for people who have read everything.
Yes.
And it's going to upset you on some of the finer points of here and there and there and there.
And certain characters and twists that they've made with those
but
iconic storylines.
But overall, with some of that stuff that was bogging X-Men down, he's kind of chosen the right things to release.
Yes.
To say, hey, that doesn't matter anymore. Or don't worry about that too much. So
we're aware of it. However, we're going this way.
Yeah.
We know it happened. It's what led to this.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on.
One of those big things being Krakoa is now just sentient and okay with everyone.
Living on him.
Yes.
Her. It.
On them.
On them.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yep.
On them. And knowing that there's a second part or a partner to him.
Yes.
That's trapped in somewhere.
Yes.
With the original Horseman.
Yeah.
Which that piqued my interest. I was like, oh, okay, so who are these?
Yeah.
Who are these very, very first Horsemen? Because the way they alluded to the story is that if they were to come back, no one would withstand them.
Yeah.
So they must be powerful.
Which we'll come back around to that because we'll get to Apocalypse. Yeah.
Yes.
But so Krakoa now, when working with Xavier and everyone else that he's recruited, can now make new drugs that solves all mental illness.
Yes.
It extends life for 5 years. Takes care of most cancers and most other diseases.
Of the mind is how they of the mind is how they put it, and then extend human life for 5 years.
Yeah,
and no, that's something else. I just blanked on the third one.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of the catch-all.
Yes.
Yeah. It's.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
It'll come to me.
We can cut that.
Yes.
Then add it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because editing. So Professor X is trying to get everyone on board with Krakoa being like its sovereign nation and the place for all mutants to come. As soon as you know that you're a mutant, you're allowed in.
Right.
They'll link you up with the language that is now exclusively spoken on Krakoa, even though it's not exclusively spoken on. But it,
but understood.
Understood, yeah.
It's understood. No one speaks it, but it's understood, and they can find their way.
Yeah, they made it
portals or whatnot.
Such a big deal. It's only spoken here, but
no one speaks it.
Yeah, unless just for dramatic effect, whatever. Yeah.
Dum dum dum.
Overall, in the series, everyone seems a little off, but there's, you could argue that several things that go on are changing the way that everyone else is reacting.
Yes.
Professor X is way more proactive now, and you find out kind of why in the second issue of everything when you find out that Moira McTaggart has the mutant ability of
reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
Retains all the knowledge of her previous life, and when she dies, however she dies, she's back in utero, in her mother. Completely sentient, completely remembers everything, and they answered the question of wouldn't you go crazy or go mad knowing you have all this knowledge but you're quote unquote stuck inside your mother. She goes, no, it's your mother, you're safe.
Yep.
So that part is answered. You're with your mom, so you're safe. And how 10 different divergent lines that she took. The very first one was her quote unquote normal life.
Yeah, where she lived for like 75 years, had kids, grandkids, married. Yeah.
The house with the picket fence and the perfect life and whatnot. And
yeah. And then the second life, she was like, wait a minute, something's up. Yeah. And throughout all these different lives, different things happen. Like she, one life she's like, oh, mutants? Oh, that's weird. Let's get rid of those. Yes. Wait, nope. And then dies.
And how she dies and who is the one.
Yeah. So
with Destiny.
Yeah.
They brought back somewhat.
Yeah. She's there in a lab getting ready to, unleash this cure on the world. And then the Mutant Liberation Front shows up. Like it's Pyro, Mystique, Destiny. And Destiny's talking to her like, okay, so I know what's up with you. And she's like, what do you mean what's up?
Right. Who, what, when?
Yeah. And Destiny's like, hey, you have the power to reincarnate, and you think that this is going to be an unlimited thing. I see it more like 10, 11 times if you're lucky.
If you make the right decisions, you may have an 11th life. However, but if you die before your mutant powers manifest, you don't come back.
Yeah.
So there are limits to her abilities.
Yeah.
So she has to make sure she makes it to her teenage years where it manifests so that she can come back. If she dies before that, that's it. Pretty much, as if you've read the story, you know that doesn't happen. She continuously to come back.
Yeah. So. And and every time that she comes back, she, like we said, she has the knowledge from each time before. So she realizes that, okay, so mutants aren't the thing to, get rid of. That's the thing to keep.
Right. And she reaches out to Xavier at first. That doesn't end well for her. She comes back and she tries it with Magneto. That doesn't end well for her.
Although she got further with Magneto than she did Xavier, and then
she did, and she made it even further with Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, so in one of the lives she gets with Apocalypse, and I mean I've talked about how I'm not a big Apocalypse fan before, like because he's never really done anything.
Right.
Apocalypse is awesome in these series.
He is.
Like oh my god, like
they've really made him an even more interesting character. He was somewhat interesting in the beginning. Now he's really interesting. His connection to Krakoa, his connection to Moira McTaggart. Question is, does she tell him everything though? She opened her mind to Xavier and then Magneto.
Right. But well, Xavier opened his mind to Magneto through her. Yeah.
But do they do that with Apocalypse?
I don't think they do.
And I didn't see that, so I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that he, being the big bad, he led pretty much the way for the other bad villains to come onto the island.
Yeah.
They're like, well, Apocalypse is on there. What's really going on? Let's see what this is. For whatever reason, they came over. They did. But she made it really far with Apocalypse.
Yeah, and they pulled a really cool Days of Future Past trick with that because Hickman in his style of writing, for those that are unfamiliar, and remind me to come back to that point because I'm gonna get lost explaining all the Hickman stuff.
Oh, Hickman.
So he interweaves quite the
Yes.
the tale. He sets up actual charts, graphs, maps,
Spreadsheets.
yeah, spreadsheets,
Pie charts.
yeah, building designs, data, data dumps.
Yes.
Here's part of their text conversation. Here's part of
And
this journal log.
yes,
Yeah.
it was about this exactly what I was going to say. Moira's journal log of Xavier and Magneto, the maps to Krakoa and Mars and the Summers home on the blue side of the moon.
Yep.
Which I didn't catch onto afterwards, but that's the biggest loss that they experienced in the beginning.
In the
it didn't,
Dark Phoenix side.
yes, it didn't click. I was like, oh, interesting choice of where you would put your house, but
Yeah, like it's this. There's a whole bunch of really neat little callbacks.
Yes.
Here and there.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So the Days of Future Past thing. So they send a consciousness back into a different timeline.
Yes.
And then they have that implanted into an apocalypsified Moira right before she dies, so she has like extra life knowledge.
When they inserted the crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a neat little
Interesting, and that ties into her somewhat of her sixth life.
Yeah.
A little bit. Which are we going to talk on that one? Being that was the big reveal.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a big spoiler.
Yeah. So we'll
get there.
We'll get around to it.
Yeah,
so Krakoa can grow portals now.
Yes.
That can transport the X-Men from anywhere, or like any mutant anywhere that there is another portal. So it could be on the other side of the universe, as long as there's
because we see Storm planning one in Westchester. We see Armor planning one in Mars.
Yep.
We see Nightcrawler putting one in DC, I believe, if I remember correctly. And at the beginning of the story, we see the different main characters putting it in different areas. So then they allude to as to why is in Mars, but that's down the road.
Yeah. Ooh. I think I just came up with something to just talk about that. Okay, so in the book, it's talked about a whole bunch of different factions of life and what all that means. They talk about Sentinels being one of the greatest threats to all of mutants and humanity and everything, and Hickman books being the type that tie into themselves constantly. A lot of the future stories reference things that happen in the future in other Hickman things, like the Avengers are the overall guardians of the universe kind of thing. There's other things that pop up and here and there, but it's machines that eventually take down most of the population of Earth. But it also talks about like the phalanx and the sentience and in there and the different.
It sets up the three arms of this war: the mutants, the humans, and the machine. The rise of the machine.
Yep.
How they are a constant as well as the humans and as the mutants. They're just a constant.
Yeah.
Can you continually? They come into harmony, if you want to call it that, during 1,000 years in the future. However, that's still not enough. Humans and realize that these types of machines are not going to give them what they want. So they reach out to the phalanx.
Yeah.
And which is a neat way to bring in Warlock and his.
Yeah, Warlock and Magus and yeah.
Yep. And the fact that, which I didn't know, was that techno-arcs do not know, they're invisible to each other.
Yeah.
So they don't know that they exist, and they don't know that they're actually working together to do all these things that the major power behind them is actually making them do, which is
Yeah, and it's shown that how the machines want to incorporate them to like build more Sentinels.
yes,
And how do we because the Warlock's people can assimilate and transform organics into metal,
right.
essentially. And they're like, oh, that's the really cool trick. We want to do that.
And it was also interesting. It was a little painful to see when they touched the baby and they started
Yeah.
converting him, but also the when Xavier and Doug were on the Cypher were on the island, and they're walking through. You see Cypher's hand,
Yeah.
Warlock hand, sprinkle some of his techno virus into the plant. So that's going to be interesting how that's going to play.
So that brings me to in one part of the series they talk about black holes being some type of machine.
Yes,
And it is the underlying knowledge of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it's the synapse of the universe is
where it all
black holes.
started. Yeah, it all began, all started. This is the end all be all, intelligence, etc. And
that's where I'm thinking that a lot of this is coming back to Cypher being the link between the machines and plants and all the other stuff, because he's speaking that language, which is not unlike any kind of binary, which is now Krakoa and the Phalanx have that connection,
right. And he also in the future, Krakoa made the comment, the body that I have now used to be owned by the person who can speak any language.
Yeah.
So there's that, and Krakoa was able to communicate with the Nimrod system.
Yeah.
To extract the information they were looking for. So that.
Yeah, that all kind of ties. Yeah.
Definitely. Where even though he was technically advanced as well, because they show Xavier inserting the thumb drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What? Yeah. This is really kind of hard to tell, just because the stories themselves are so all over the place. They go very far in the future, then they go back to the past, and then they kind of jump around, but everything is still linear.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
Even in Moira's chart that they had of all her lives, it converges in the middle, that circle, which is to signify her emergence of her powers.
Yeah.
It just diverts in 3 different ways, but once you follow that line, it all becomes linear again.
Yeah.
In her lifetime. So I would agree. It diverges at manifestation of her powers, but then it just all comes together at the same time.
Yeah, and so if we stop ourselves, it's just because we need to talk about another thing.
Yes, this
because
is so much.
Yeah, in one of the first issue in House of X.
Yes.
Mystique and Sabretooth and some folk are busted, getting some information. Mystique shows up with a thumb drive, and then X-Men have to go tell the Fantastic Four, "Yo, we're taking Sabretooth because he's a mutant."
And Scott's attitude,
yeah,
not saying that negatively, but his attitude was like, "Hey, so how are you guys? How's it going? Mazel tov thing. So I heard that you got married. Congratulations." And he's just like buddy with them.
Yeah.
Just, hey, we're gonna go ahead and take him with us. No, you're not. Yeah, he's got he has amnesty. No. Okay, well, you know what? We'll deal with it some other time.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Which
just looking at him like, what does that mean?
Yeah. So they're like, all right, whatever, I guess. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which has further setup issues down the way,
because they do dispense some justice. With
yeah.
Sabretooth.
So this new actually, let's not get into the new laws of the thing. I want to get into their first big mission out.
Yes.
Yeah. So they discover that there are Sentinels, there are Master Molds, and then what makes a Master Mold
is a Mother Mold.
Yes.
And they're building one, and it's going around. It's in the orbit of the sun.
Yeah, and it's staffed by people who are on Shield, AIM, Hydra,
Hammer,
Hammer.
Alpha Flight.
Yeah, the Alpha Flight, not like
Not the team, but the one
that Carol had.
yes.
Yeah, like the
Scientist.
Yeah. Some people from Sword.
Yes.
Just kind of any organization that Marvel would have had, some upset people joined. And they decided, oh, we don't like mutants. Let's
just throw them all together. Let's work together to get this done. They're run by two doctors. The military side, which is the husband Erasmus, and then the scientific side, which is Doctor.
Start with the G.
Yeah.
Gregor.
Dr. Gregor.
Gregor. Yeah.
And also backed by Garima, who is now an Alpha Sentinel. Is it Alpha Sentinel? No.
Yeah.
Alpha Sentinel. And she's also in the storyline from beginning to 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah, which we haven't seen her since like the Chris Bacallo
yes.
run of X-Men. Yeah.
When she was first infected with or given the virus, and then now she's fully on being a Alpha Sentinel, Omega Sentinel.
Omega Sentinel, that's what it was.
Omega Sentinel, yes.
Yep.
And we see her, and in this current timeline, she is more of an observer, but in the future, she's more of a...
Is she more proactive? Yeah.
She's more proactive. And it's interesting, the quick thing she had with Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
And it's like Nightcrawler. His name is... One side of her saying his name is Nightcrawler because the doctor was talking bad about him or talking down about him. And she goes, his name is Nightcrawler. Like, hey...
Yeah, and it recognizes that little history with it. Yeah.
Yeah, the little connect. Hey, that's his name, Nightcrawler. So... A few of the powerhouses of the X-Men, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Nightcrawler, Saint Croix.
Yeah,
Monet,
yeah.
She's now taking her name of penance.
Well, I mean, she can Hulk out to penance now, so yeah, which is a nice little callback.
Yes.
So yeah, the squad gets sent, and like Archangel, Husk, like it's
ones.
It's a huge, just like let's take a huge handful into the toy box and pull out these guys, and you grabbed Wolverine, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Mystique. Like you have the team, like you have the X-Men, and it feels like an 80s issue of the X-Men when, like, okay, this is the beginning. Like we're reaching the climax of the story here. Like something huge is about to go down, and they've been planning this for months, if not years.
Oh, and it goes down.
Yeah.
It goes down.
So House of X4 is absolutely one of the best X-Men.
Yes.
Like a series of X-Men moments in recent years.
It is.
You just see death and mayhem, and everyone's character is like so on point. Like 3 or 4 people get just taken out, just decimated.
Right off the bat.
And Jean is in. It's Jean that has the psychic link to him, right?
Jean has
point. Yeah.
Yeah, she's running point, and Monet is helping her keep the focus.
Right.
So her and Jean Grey are staying on the shuttle, and then
everyone else is infiltrating this system right by the sun that is getting as many things together for the mother mold as it possibly can, so it can just blast out.
Right, and it's connected by four junctions.
Yeah,
and Cyclops, Wolverine, Mystique, and Nightcrawler set out to disengage. Wolverine and Cyclops do get theirs done. Mystique gets blown out of the...
Yeah, blown out of an airlock, yeah.
And...
So, like, she's dead.
Which surprised me because Cyclops made the comment, and Mystique is here because she can blend in, but she never does.
Well,
we don't see her doing it.
Well, you see her, like, getting ready to transform, or, like, coming out of transform
Because she says,
mode, whatever.
she makes, I got, are you done? You know, Cyclops, asks her if she's done. She goes, I got turned around, but I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's when the Doctor and Karima come and blow her out of the,
Yeah.
air hole. And so then Cyclops, they're dying. Obviously, everyone is dying. And,
Yeah, like just like Archangel just bites it.
yeah,
like
bites
just,
it, and so does Husk.
Husk. Yeah.
Right
just
off the bat.
gone. And then like Jean's like, whoa, what's going on? And it was like, we're taking some hits. Can you go on? And then there's this moment that he has to stop, assess everything, and think, yep,
we have to.
We are we are a team. This is the thing that we are set to do. The mission is the most important thing.
Right.
Let's go.
Well, and he makes a comment and says, let's get this done. Then we'll figure out how we're going to get off of this.
Yeah.
We're going to get back home. Let's get this done first.
Yeah.
Then we'll worry about that. We can't focus on getting off now, getting this done. We have to get this done.
Yeah, because Karima and the scientists are like, well, let's destroy their way home and let's, blast everything we possibly can. Mm-hmm. And then Wolverine decides that it's up to him to make the ultimate sacrifice.
And Nightcrawler teleports him out into the vacuum of space. He, of course, is instantly disintegrated or burnt up.
Because they're right by the sun.
Right.
So, yeah.
So he slashes through the Mother Moles into the sun. And no one makes it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone of the X-Men there dies.
Yes.
Like, holy crap, they die.
And quite violent deaths.
Yeah, and then end of issue, and then you go over, and then Storm's like, "Man, how crazy is everything now?"
Yeah, so and
then
it was just, and what they use her powers to be able to manipulate the water in such a way that they can actually show Jean's face and do that. Not only the mental connection, but that visual as well. I thought it was kind of cool. She can do that now. Or with the help of the cuckoos, that she was able to, because I think observation, tactics, and then incantation, which is her part, where she was able to do that.
Yeah.
And if you look in the panel where Jean pops up in the water, Storm is just like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And then Cuckoo's on the floor going, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
She's scared.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It was good set of her powers.
Yeah, like it like I say, this whole series has just all these really cool X-Men moments.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they bring them back.
Yes.
So
yes.
I really appreciate this one just because for years this has been getting set up with actual payoff being nowhere.
Right.
So Gold Balls has been touted as like one of the most
useless,
awesome, coolest, most important mutants ever. Like, he's Colossus level awesome, and he's just been kind of useless.
Yeah, he's been useless. Not, he just popped balls out of his chest.
Yeah,
and they have this funny noise that when they come out, and that was it.
Yeah, and he was like, I can just keep making them.
Yep.
Cool.
There's no limit to how many I can do, so here we go.
Because I like him as a character, but like as far as a functional member of a team, yeah.
Hey,
whereas
we can play cricket.
Yeah, with the team, they discover that Gold Ball shoots eggs.
Yes,
and they're little pods. And oh no, we skipped over Sinister.
Yes, Bar Sinister.
Yeah, sorry for anyone who's getting frustrated with our talking of all this. This is honestly kind of how the comics get. Like, it's but wait, hold on, let's talk about this real quick. Oh wait, we're going back to this thing
because the comic starts at year 1, year 10, and year 1,000.
Yeah.
So all three are going at the same time and all interweave into each other somehow. And I believe in year 1 is when Magneto and Xavier go to Bar Sinister.
Yep. Yeah, so you find out that Mr. Sinister has been collecting DNA of everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah. And they decide that they want it.
Yes.
And they realize, well, once we have it, we don't really know how to use it. Hey, do you want to come play with us?
Yes. And he's like, before you say anything else, that cape is to die for.
Yeah.
Sassy Sinister, yes.
Yeah, like I am so for super sassy Sinister, because
Oh, I am. Yeah.
it just makes sense for a guy who walks around in thigh-high leather boots and a big feather cape to
And a red diamond on his.
yeah,
Yes.
like
Yes.
he's going to be sastastic and like give him that personality as opposed to like hold on, let me grow this mustache so I can twist it kind of villain. Like he's not that kind of
No,
villain.
he's not. He's the massive manipulator.
He's supposed to be just
Sassy.
grandiose and
Yes,
yeah,
and over the top, and just
yeah,
I know I can be sassy, and
yeah.
That's-
Like if they could just go back and be like, hey, Chris Claremont, just write him a little sassy.
right,
Yeah,
and all the other Sinisters around him.
yeah, yeah. Because Club Sinister comes from like the Secret Wars crossover,
Yep.
where Sinister was in charge of his own little land, and it's all clones, we think, or manipulated projects of Sinister.
Yep.
So Charles and Xavier, Charles Xavier and Magneto are there, and they ask Sinister if they want to come play along.
Yep.
Yeah,
And of course, Xavier being who he says, "You won't remember this till I allow you to remember."
yeah,
So, however, being that it's Sinister, did he mind wipe the correct Sinister?
right.
Or was it a clone acting as?
Yeah.
'Cause he did make quite an interesting statement as to how he got an X gene or who he got the X gene from.
Right. Because now he's a mutant, but he hadn't always been a mutant.
Right. So now he's allowed on Krakoa,
Yeah.
or can be on Krakoa. It was interesting to see all these villains come on, except for, and yes, it can be explained away, but there was no
Shadow King.
Shadow King. And there's no mention of Shadow King. There's no alluding to him. There's no one showing the red glowy eyes.
Yeah.
We know how Xavier wound up in the body that he's in,
Yeah.
and he left Phantom X in the astral plane. But I wonder if the Shadow King hitched a ride somehow.
Ooh. I mean, that could explain some stuff.
Because
Yeah.
so far, he's the only that I've noticed. He's the only baddie that hasn't been mentioned or alluded to or even considered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's tons of more X-Men comics to come. So,
So that,
but
and how they go with that one.
yeah. But Sinister gets on board and figures out a way to essentially get everyone cloned.
Yes.
And he breaks down the genetic markers for each person's specific power
Yeah.
and all this other stuff. So there's gold balls and a team of a handful of other mutants that can essentially resurrect anyone, because like they super like he shoots out the egg, then DNA gets injected into it, then they speed up the time and heal all the stuff, and then Professor X is walking around with this helmet all of a sudden, and it's this super Cerebro that he's constantly wearing, and he's constantly backing up the memories of every mutant at least once a week.
Once a week, and then once a year, he does a hard save on everyone. But it takes him, I think they said, about 3 days to do so, and he cannot be disturbed. So I wonder if he'll go into that no space that Moira's in to do that.
Yeah.
Not be disturbed. But yeah, I do like what they've done with Go Balls. They've actually upped his power set, which is nice. It's a good change for him. They have him. They have Hope, Proteus, Tempest, and Elixir.
Yeah.
The five.
Yeah.
The five. Go Balls shoots his eggs out. Tempest makes them viable. Hope injects them with the DNA. Tempest accelerates the time, and Elixir does whatever he's fixes them.
Make sure that they stay healthy.
And
Yeah.
they grow them to a certain point age.
Yeah.
And Polaris makes it, well, they're just the bodies. It's just a certain point in their life. Is it the perfect of them? So that's why Magneto explains that the Super Cerebro, yes, everyone thought it was just simply to locate mutants all these years, but really what Xavier was doing was copying and downloading all the mutants into this Cerebro.
Yeah.
And then he has 5 different caches where he can dump the information into, so he's not overwhelmed with the information. And it's interesting that he's been able to do that to himself twice.
Yeah.
And that also reminded me in one of the X-Men movies, in the original trilogy, where the Phoenix kills him and he pops up at the end of the movie
Yeah, in a different body.
in a different body. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. Maybe they pulled it from that.
Yeah. Although it's interesting that's working now, but just mind wiping Magneto turned him crazy enough to make Onslaught. Like
Yes.
it's like there's so many cool moments for the whole series, but then there's that, hey, wait a minute. If you think about that thing,
And that one other thing.
Yeah.
And then you start trying to connect the dots. You can't.
yeah, because it's weird the things that he chooses to keep, like the Nightcrawler Karima thing, like
Yes.
because that wasn't a long standing anything, but
It wasn't. And there are some characters that I'm. Hopefully they'll bring them to where they were, but of course, Marvel Girl, she's back in her original costume, and she's acting more like a scared teenager more than the powerhouse, strong
Yeah.
woman that she was in X-Men Red, leading her team and doing what she needed to do. And now she's more of a. They show her in that episode 4, or issue 4,
Yeah.
where she's afraid of these. Well, where's her telekinesis?
Yeah.
What happened to that? Okay, maybe he brought her back pre Phoenix. However, she still had her. She had her
Yeah.
telekinesis then, and she was pretty good at it. So where is that?
Yeah.
Why did he choose to bring her to that age, or to that power set, and to that time in her life?
Or like something's up.
Something's up with that. A lot of again, is what we said in the beginning. A lot of the characters are
Not
off
quite
from
acting. Yeah.
what we're used to seeing them act, and Marvel Girl being the biggest
Yeah.
change is like
Yeah. Because
more of a downgrade for her.
yeah,
It's-
she is really come into being one of the strongest female
yes.
characters.
Oh yeah, her
in
and
the Marvel
Storm
universe.
and
Yeah.
Psylocke, and
It is fun seeing Storm written correctly again.
yes,
Because she's snarky regal.
yes,
Yeah.
and that her interaction with Monet when she was resurrected, no touching,
Yeah.
and she just laughs.
Yeah.
So that little, yeah, that's you. that's totally you. And that she, when they were resurrected, she goes, "All right, humans, let's go. We don't have time. We don't have time for that.
Yeah.
The world is not happy that you're back. Let's get to work. Let's go. Let's do this."
And there's the moment where Cyclops is like, "Oh man," when the kids were like, "Yay, Magneto's back!"
yes, she's like, "Oh."
He's like, "Ah." So yeah,
But
yeah,
no. And so going once more back to Krakoa, the
Yeah.
3 laws.
oh yeah, the 3 laws of mutants now.
Cannot take a human life,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why Sabretooth was
Oh,
the way he was.
Yeah, we'll get to
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And then
Mutants must
make more mutants,
make more mutants.
which is interesting. It came from Nightcrawler,
Yeah.
being as pious as he is. And Krakoa's sacred land.
Yeah.
So
Because
that must be respected.
yeah, because they realize that Krakoa is a mutant
Yes,
essentially. So that they realize that
to respect him,
Yeah.
we have to respect them.
Yeah. As a mutant.
Yes.
Like, would you want someone living on you? Would you want someone doing all these things to you?
Right.
Yeah.
All these thousands of mutants that are now coming onto them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Respectful.
Yeah. And you find out who governs the mutants now.
The Quiet Council.
Yeah.
Which,
Let's see. So there's 12 seats, but we've seen 11 of the 12.
yes.
I will say before we get into who they are, my favorite reject of all of them was when Professor X was like, "Hey Namor,
yes.
yes,
I forgot about that.
we're putting a nation together. You wanna join?" He was like, "I've been a king
Right.
way longer than you've been around, and you just want to go play king all of a sudden."
He says, "Come back when you really mean it. Be gone, little man."
Yeah. And he's like, but I mean it. He's like, no,
Yep.
no, you don't understand what you're dealing with and what you're saying when you do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Nimmer's been around for a long. He's seen a lot happen, come and go, and he called it.
Yeah.
He called Xavier on it right then and there. Yeah. When you really mean it, come talk to me when you really mean it. Otherwise, just go on. Just go.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Because then when they're setting up their governing body, it's Professor X, Charles, Moira, it's Sinister. Actually, how's this? Why don't we do a quick pause?
Yep. Because it's Xavier, Magneto, and Apocalypse at the head. Then I believe they're Summer?
12 that rule Krakoa. Nope. Not Florida Trooper cover.
The Quiet Council?
Yes.
Quiet Council of Krakoa.
You got it?
Trying to get it up. Yeah. Autumn is Charles, Xavier, Magneto, and Apocalypse. Winter is Exodus, Mr. Sinister, and Mystique.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just read that out and.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess back before I was listing off things.
Okay.
So whatever code that is. Sorry, man.
We have.
So yeah, on the council, it's who do you have?
We have on the it's set up. It was divided into the 4 seasons. So on Autumn we have Xavier, Magneto, Apocalypse. Winter we have Exodus, Mr. Sinister, and Mystique. Spring, Sebastian Shaw, Emma Frost, and then they have the Red King.
Yeah,
but they haven't filled that seat yet.
Yeah.
Rumor has there's a certain X-Men that's going to be on there.
Yeah.
However, we don't know yet. Summer, we have Jean Grey, Storm, and Nightcrawler. And then Krakoa, which is Krakoa and Cypher.
Cypher to help.
And they even go into allies, who the great captains are, and then the one enemy, which is Sabretooth.
Yeah. So Sabretooth for like killing a whole bunch of people early on in the story, and kind of dragging Mystique down with him needs to get dealt with. So they're like, we need to become like our own nation. So they put it before the UN, and they get everything put to a vote. But Professor X sends in the White Queen to manipulate the votes to where they get all the votes that they need to become a sovereign nation.
And excuse me, and her price is she gets a 50-year exclusive distribution rights to the medicine.
Yep.
Or the flower that Krakoa is to cure any mental ills and extend life for 5 years. She has the exclusive. First, they said 20 years.
Yep.
And then she's like, no. And so Magneto said, oh, yeah, 50 years.
Yeah, so, because what's time to them now that they can regrow bodies at will.
And they had her bring in Xavier had her bring in Sebastian Shaw. She's going to be the face. He's going to be the black ops of it.
Yep.
And then she also asked for a Red King.
Yep.
Who is this Red King? Rumor has it as a certain X-Men that led the X-Men recently. However, they haven't really revealed who that is yet.
I bet you Mastermind comes back.
Ooh.
Just to mess with Sebastian.
They did have Lady Mastermind, his daughter.
Yeah.
She showed up, so maybe.
Yeah, that'd be real cool.
Yeah.
So the council gets a hold of Sabretooth and they're like, all right, so here's our first big decision. What do we do? Because he killed man. Because they see it as you don't want to have any kind of aggression towards people. Like, you can fight with them, but there's no killing.
Which goes back to the original thought of the X-Men. They do not kill.
Yeah.
They had gotten away from that in the last few 10, 20 years, but now it goes back to you do not kill.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all right.
you don't.
But
And they set up the three laws, and and Professor X says, "Well, we're not going to kill you, because then you fall into the resurrection protocols.
yeah,
So that's not going to happen. So what do we do with you? Where do we put you? Anywhere we put you, you're going to break out. We know this.
yeah,
Anywhere on man's jails or whatever, however high security or super powered, whatever, you're going to break out eventually. So how do we do this? Well, the only way we can deal with you is you're going to be in stasis.
yeah.
You will be aware of everything that's going around, but you can't do anything. You're just going to be there.
Which is horrific.
Yes, you will exist, and that's all you will do.
Yeah,
And then Krakoa, Cypher talks to or tells to Krakoa, and Krakoa opens up and swallows him
yeah,
in front of everybody. Just swallows him whole
yeah. And that's your punishment for
for killing man,
yeah.
and that's it.
So it's really cool that the X-Men are getting all of their stuff, kind of back together, and like, man, they're really doing, like we saw some of this when it was like the San Francisco team when it,
Yes.
Scott united all mutants and he got everyone on there and everything was on board, and that failed miserably.
Yes, and now they don't have to worry about the bankroll because they have a built-in bankroll.
Yep.
Angel doesn't have to do it just himself. Emma Frost doesn't have to do it
Yeah.
just herself or combine. Or Xavier's now they have their own currency, their own monetary.
Yeah,
they
and
bankroll themselves.
and the island provides most of whatever they need.
Yes,
And they've built their perfect little utopia.
exactly.
So
Careful with perfect utopias.
yeah, so fun story with all that. They've worked really, really hard on all of this, and they've kind of started doing things that they would never, ever do as characters, But you're kind of seeing why all of a sudden Charles was like, "Hey, now that I got this body back, let's put all this in motion."
Yes.
Because in all of Moira's lives, when she meets her untimely end, the X-Men have lost every single time.
All.
Yeah,
Yep.
no matter what anyone does, to stop the Sentinels, to stop the machines, they always lose. Like they've tried to kill Bolivar Task and any
All his family members.
yeah, anyone
that
who
didn't-
might come back and do make them Sentinels. It turns out that someone in that time era is destined to make those machines.
What she realizes is you can kill all the Trask family, but it's just who gets there first.
Yeah,
Who gets to
because
that.
yeah, because so many different aspects of humanity was working towards this anyway.
So the end of the series, her sixth life is revealed. She and turns out
Yeah, go ahead.
her and Wolverine were in shadow when they first introduced the character, the librarian.
Yep.
You don't know it's them till issue Powers of 10-6,
Yeah.
and he calls them forth, and there's just them two.
Yeah.
And the big reveal, because throughout the entire series, they talk about all her lives, except for number 6.
Yeah.
So is number 6 the current timeline in which all of this is happening, or is it number 10 in which all this is happening?
Or
And
yeah.
and knowing Hickman is probably the big or of what's this.
Yeah, this could be Life 11.
Yes.
Because when Mystique got brought the information to Xavier, he she was like, I'm gonna need a little something else, and they're like, well, that's great because we need something else too.
And she's like, oh, really?
And he and she says, okay, well, I want Destiny back.
Yes.
And the whole thing for bringing back people was anyone who knew the future couldn't come back.
No precogs whatsoever, and they keep Moira in a place called the No Space.
Yeah.
Or the No Place, and apparently no one can detect that she's there. Krakoa doesn't even know that she's there.
Yeah, she is an undetectable mutant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even Destiny alluded to that. She goes, "You are invisible to other mutants. I couldn't see you and no one can see you unless you look. You know where to look and what to look for.
Yeah.
That's the only way I was able to find you was I saw the inconsistencies, and so that it all led back to you. So she's in this bubble,
Yeah.
and Charles and Magneto visit her, and they do their plotting. But in her notes, she says, "I have to break Charles Xavier," and some of them are blacked out, but the other says, I have broken him, or I'm close to breaking him." So that's going to be interesting how she does.
Yeah.
What does she mean by that? To get him to where he is now, to be able to join up with Magneto. What do you mean by breaking him? Because nothing was alluded to her child, because Proteus is her kid.
Yeah.
And nothing was mentioned.
Yeah, like they don't mention that she and Charles had a kid or anything. Yeah.
Proteus, he's a mutant, but there's no familial connection there.
Yeah.
But they made a big, huge to-do about Scott and his family, and extended family, but nothing about Charles and his son.
Yeah.
Yet. So we'll see what they do with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like because Destiny can throw everything
All of
into the craziness. Yeah,
Which means they're not. Looks like they won't be bringing back Blindfold anytime soon, being she's a precog, and I believe she was being somewhat trained by Destiny before she died.
Yep.
Or shown how to use her powers so she wouldn't lose her mind. So those two are out of the question.
Yeah.
For now. How long is Mystique going to hold on without her partner being brought back?
Yeah.
How long is she going to sit back and go?
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, Apocalypse is just like, this is great. I'm loving every moment of this, guys. Good job. And then, like, he'll go hang out by himself.
Yeah. When they're having the big party scene, he's just back in the corner, just watching everybody. But you can see his mind just plotting.
There's a scene where, like, Apocalypse has to lead the X-Men all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
And Wolverine calls him boss.
Yeah.
It was like, what?
Yeah. Like, this whole series is so full of, like, really awesome things. And though we've spoiled a lot of it.
A lot.
Honestly, still read it, because there's
so many things that we haven't even touched on.
Yeah. Like,
Lot.
I mean, basically, we've told you, hey, you're having cake. You don't know what kind it is, or
Right.
what kind of sprinkles are on it, or how big the cake. Yeah, it's
And read the charts. Read
everything.
Don't, just because it's included, just don't pass it over. I did that the first time. I was like, just kind of skipped over it, and then I was like, wait a minute. Reread the entire. Yes.
So much in it. It tells you the motivation behind some of the characters. It tells you,
Explains the why we see Armor planting a plant on Mars.
Yep.
Because then we find out about the sinister breeding pits in Mars, and how that leads to the 1,000 years ahead, and the combination of all the mutants being combined and bred to be specific, either a black brain telepath where no one can be detected, a ghost mutant, a warrior mutant, or a pacifist mutant.
Yeah, because in one of the timelines, all the machines win, although mutants and humanity have moved off-world and to other places and that kind of thing.
Because there's only 8 mutants. In the future, there's only 8 mutants on Earth.
Yeah.
The vast majority are on a vessel on the fringes of Shi'ar space, and then maybe a couple thousand are on
the Shi'ar home
Throne World.
Yeah.
So it lets you know that there are still a lot of mutants out there.
Yeah.
But they're not on Earth.
Yeah.
So did they leave to save themselves, or will they come back once well, no, because now when the Phalanx take over, there's nothing to come home to.
Right. Yeah, there's so much, right? And then we got X-Men 1 this last week. And it's kind of a weird place to pick up from with all that, but I appreciate that they didn't just dive
right into
everything. They kind of had your Storm and Cyclops out on a mission moment.
Yes. Which went back to their training session.
Yeah.
Way back when she beat him for the leadership.
Yeah. When she had no powers and beat him.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen Wolverine pop his claws, because if he died out there,
How did he get the adamantium back?
I mean, does he have an adamantium
Does he have-
skeleton right now?
Because we saw Archangel die.
Yeah.
When he was resurrected,
He was Angel.
he was Angel with the feathery wings.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So what happens with all that?
and who else had the Apocalypse seed in it? His son did, Wolverine's son.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him either.
Yeah, we haven't seen Dakin yet.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I figure that there's just so much space to draw in a comic.
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, does this mean that Mimic's back and Morph's back or Changeling because is Blink back?
Oh, that would be so awesome if they brought her back.
Yeah. Or I mean, some of these would end up being the
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah.
The original. Not,
yeah. But do these mean that everyone's back now, or did Sinister all of a sudden like, oh, I didn't get that one.
Oops.
Ooh, a few things fall through the cracks. And
accidentally on purpose, but not really.
I would love to see someone brought back like, from right before the Onslaught thing happened. And they'd be like, oh yeah, the Avengers just went to their deaths. Oh hey, here's everything that happened in between.
Will they bring back John Proudstar?
I think they would.
Or is this because Sinister has his X gene, they can't bring him back?
Ooh, I don't know.
And was this before, and another wrinkle in that, is this before Xavier morphed the Cerebro to collect the consciousness?
Yeah.
Because in that area, because it looked like Hickman crammed all the timelines in a year and a half. So did he have this?
Did he have this way back when?
Right.
Or, yeah. Like, was that an upgrade when he was like, "Hey, Forge, since you're here, upgrade Cerebro. Like, let's get some alien technology in this."
And also alluded to Forge having a very another secluded area, working on biological weapons and biological constructs.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting how they're going to develop that side of it, because they're saying that he is more of a technopath, but he's also been able to easily transition into dealing with Krakoa and being organic.
Yeah.
So another way of combining organic and...
Which it's real funny because like the first issue, they even talk like, they kind of talk some smack on Forge. They're like, yeah, he's really good with machines, but like Tony Stark's just as good with machines. It's a learned thing. Like if he lost his power, he just wouldn't know how to use the things he made.
Right.
Like that's one of those things that you find in the text when it's like
there's limits. The upper limits of its power is just like Moira.
Yeah.
If she dies before she hits puberty, that's it.
Yeah.
Or you run out your 10 lives, or possibly 11.
Yeah.
Without doing anything, because she obviously took to heart what Destiny told her.
Yeah.
And how she died, I would too.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely read these books.
Yeah.
Man.
So hopefully we cleared it up as mud for you.
Well, or at least entice you to read the books.
Yes.
If you all have thoughts, comments, whatever, message us. Leave comments below.
And pick up the books. Pick up the new series. This last week was X-Men #1. This week is it Marauders?
Yeah, I think it's Marauders this week. Yeah,
which have a piratey vibe.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I like that they have Lockheed back, so I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's a whole slew of books that are coming out. Most of them look fantastic. Other books look like Fallen Angels. Watch that be the one that's like, oh, here's the greatest X book ever.
Right.
Yeah.
They brought back New Mutants, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so. It's weird that like Mondo's back.
What?
Yeah.
I know. I saw that. I was like, what?
Yeah, but he was evil. What happened? Yeah.
And Cannonball's not in it.
But he's off doing Avenger stuff. I'm sure.
He's back on the Shi'ar throne world with his wife and kid.
I would love to see Smasher come back.
Yes.
Yeah. That's probably more likely since it's Hickman and he's the one who had that whole relationship.
Yeah. I wonder how they're gonna treat with Rain Sinclair coming back.
Oh, I don't know.
Because she died a very horrific death as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of real world connotations in her death, are they going to gloss that over, or are they going to really get into it, or at least address it somehow?
That's probably one that they'll save for later issues when there's time to kind of breathe. Because right now it's here's all the exposition,
Yep.
and then
Will she have her kid?
if it, I mean maybe.
And
Will he have the connection to hell?
Maybe.
Will he have? Yeah.
I'd like to see Guido back as well.
Oh, yeah. Listen, around here, there's not a bigger strong guy fan than me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Multiple Man. We haven't seen him either. Not yet, anyways.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll see a lot of them soon.
yeah.
We should quit while we're behind.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for listening, watching, participating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leave your comments.
Yeah.
Questions.
Leave your comments, questions. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
We're on all the different platforms that podcasts can be subscribed to, watched, and or listened to, tasted, depending on your nearness of mobile device or radio.
And if you haven't read X-Men before, great jumping on point. It may be a little confusing, but
hey, that's where I come in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you all, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.